Hey YouTube, thanks for stopping by the channel and thanks for clicking play today. I tell you what, GM has never produced a better vehicle than this C8 Z06. I'm going to talk some today about just how good this car is, the awards it's been winning, the competitions it's been winning. I mean, this car continues to rack up awards. This car continues to set marks that are way above its price range, competing with cars of $1 million McLaren Sennas, those type of cars. And we're going to go through that today. But I mean, let's start off with just kind of the basics, right? The car produces 670 horsepower out of a 5.5 liter LT6 flat plane crank. It is the biggest flat plane crank as far as displacement that's ever been produced, and it is the most powerful naturally aspirated engine ever produced. Ever. Not domestic American, not exotic, ever. It was no secret that GM benchmarked this car. The motor itself from a 458, they bought a 458, they took the car apart and they took the engine apart and they reverse engineered the LT6 kind of based off of that. There are a lot of Ferrari-esque designs from the dual plenum, the dual throttle bodies, those type of things on this car. And there's some really amazing tech as far as, the way the throttle bodies in the middle of the intake kind of pulse air back and forth at different RPMs and different speeds to give it more of like a kind of like a ram air effect to make sure that, you're moving as much air as you can through the motor. Also with, the short exhaust coming out the back, there's very little back pressure, the lowest back pressure Chevy's ever had on a V8. So there was a lot of firsts for GM on this one. Not only the C8 platform being the first mid-engine, but then the Z06 bringing this amazing LT6 engine that, we now know is bespoke only to the Z06. The LT7 in the upcoming ZR1 is a 5.5 liter flat plane crank, but they dropped the compression ratio from 12.5 to 9.8. They gave it better rods, better pistons to handle more boost. So anyway, it's a different engine, right? This thing sticks with the Z06 platform, the recipe that GM's used over the years of a track-focused, high-revving NA car. They kind of got away from that in the C7 Z06, and they kind of paid the price on it because of the cooling issues they were having. But just, looking at what this car has done so far, not only do I still believe it's probably the best Corvette ever made, especially for the money. We'll see how the ZR1, now that we know the numbers, is going to stack up. But just kind of the performance benchmarks that this thing has set already, we're going to go over some of those here just kind of right now. The first one that I pull up here and I'm going to put on the screen, I love the car and driver lightning lap format. They go to Virginia International Raceway. They use the Grand Track, which is the big track. It's a fast track around the outside. It's a long track. It's very technical. It's very hard. And every year they bring a group of cars and they run them. And they beat them. And they try to get the fastest speed. Now, they do put it as far as, they break it up as far as class for prices. But every year they keep adding to the list of the all-time, basically kind of like, Top Gear's Power Board. They basically have one. And again, they got it on the screen here so you can see. But I just want to bring this to you guys' attention. When they first ran the Z06 in the Lightning Lap in 2023, it was the fastest naturally aspirated car they have ever tested in I think it was 15 years. The fastest NA car they've ever tested, and it was the 5th fastest car all time. Now, when you're looking at this list, guys, look, number 1, McLaren Senna, 234.9. Mercedes AMG GT Black Series, 237. Porsche 911 GT3 RS, 237.2. Porsche 911 GT2 RS, the Weissach edition, though, 237.8. That's the only new one from 2023 to 2024 is the Weissach edition. But the GT3 RS. And then look what's just above 0.2 tenths of a second, guys, faster around VIR. The McLaren 765 LT is only 2 tenths of a second faster. 238.4 versus 238.6. I mean, are you kidding me? The Z06 ends up pulling like 2 tenths of a second faster than McLaren's two big dogs. The McLaren Senna was considerably faster, and by considerably, about 4 seconds, right? But you're talking $1 million+ car that was literally built for one thing in mind, and it was to absolutely obliterate tracks. But you're only 2 tenths of a second behind the 765 LT. I mean, look at some of the other cars down this list, guys. The 718 GT4 RS, 911 GT3, GT3, 911 Turbo S, McLaren 600 LT, Ford GT, the new one, Porsche 918 Spyder, Mercedes-AMG, Lamborghini Huracan Performante, Dodge Viper ACR, Lucid Air Sapphire, Ford GT500, the new one, the Mustang, the 2015 Z06. I mean, going back to 2012, like these are huge names. That this car is where it is still the sixth fastest all time and still the fastest in a car that they've ever had. I mean, this is mind blowing how much performance that this car gives you for this price. I mean, this is lofty territory, and you're competing with cars that are 2, 3, and 4 times the price. You know, the McLaren 765, is the McLaren right now that you can realistically get a hold of, and you're only 2/10 faster in a McLaren 765 than you are in a C8 Z06. That says everything. I know it's 2024 and they just did the Performance Car of the Year for Road and Track, but the 2023 Performance Car of the Year was the C8 Z06. There's some pretty steep competition. There was an Audi RS3, BMW M4 Comp. There was the Type R. There was a 718 Cayman GT4, the Nissan Z Performance, the Lamborghini Huracan Technica. So there was a lot of good stiff competition, but the C8 Z06 won the 2023 Performance Car of the Year. It was also Car of the Year previously when it was released into the 23 model year. It was the Car of the Year. I mean, the wins keep on coming for the C8 Z06. I hope they can carry that through into the ZR1. We are getting into hypercar territory seriously when we start talking about the numbers on the ZR1 versus the Z06. But just looking at it from that standpoint, Performance Car of the Year, Car of the Year, Driver's Car of the Year. It's the 5th fastest, 6th fastest on the Lightning Lap. Shortly after the Z06 was released, Car and Driver did an article called Whale Tail, where they ran a 2022 Porsche 911 GT3 versus a C8 Z06, and the C8 Z06 won in every category. Now, they were very, very close, but it won in every category. Now, this is not the GT3 RS. Again, that's a whole nother animal. But the GT3 versus the Z06, I mean, with the price difference, the performance difference, for the Z06 to be, in their opinion, for Car and Driver, the better car, again, says so much. So one of the things that's come out recently about the Z06 that we were really excited about, Throttle House. If you haven't seen this video on their YouTube channel, go check it out. They actually ran the Z06 in their standard test against the Lotus Emira, and it wasn't so much the competition between the Lotus and the Z06, but it was what the Z06 did, the lap time that this thing laid down in their circuit. And I'm going to go over this, guys. I'm going to put it up here on the screen so you can see this, okay? Now here, look at that. The Corvette Z06 was number 1 of all the cars they've run, 106.56. That is just a hair in front of a 911 GT3 RS at 106.67. You see there at number 4, a Viper's ACR. At number 5, a 911 GT3. At number 6, a 2017 Corvette ZR1. I mean, looking at these things, guys, this is an insane performance from a car that shouldn't really even be competing with the 911 GT3 RS or the 911 GT or the Viper ACR when you consider the price that you're getting this car for. GM made an amazing supercar. There's no doubt about it anymore, guys. This is not a sports car. This is a supercar. The ZR1 is now hypercar territory, but the Z06 is a supercar for sure. Now, all this being said, does that mean I think that the Z06 is a better car than the C8 ZR1? Absolutely not, guys. Come on, we're getting 1,064 horsepower, 828 pound-feet of torque out of a twin-turbo, flat-plane crank V8. This car has already been shown on Instagram to go 212-plus miles an hour. It got a split window. They brought that back. I think that's awesome. It's got the front arrow, the big wing, the big arrow in the back. The performance is going to be absolutely insane, even if this thing comes in at a spec'd out price of around $200,000. Where I do think the C8 Z06 fits and where I think it's going to live its legacy is just like the C6 Z06, where, yeah, the ZR1 was more powerful. Yeah, the ZR1 was a better track car, but the C8 Z06 with that naturally aspirated, high-revving LS7 was just a motor that was bespoke to that car, just like the LT6 is bespoke to this car. That's where it's going to live on. And this LT6 is rowdy. It makes a lot of noise. It makes a glorious noise. And the turbos on this car, on the ZR1, kind of mute that a little bit. And it kind of cuts down on the rowdiness a little bit. I'm going to play you guys some clips with some flybys here so you can see how good this car really sounds and how electric it is. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, because I don't want to beat this to death, but I'm just trying to show you guys how much performance these driving clubs, these publications are getting out of these cars. Okay, I'm going to put one more graphic up here on the screen, and this is from the Nevers Magny Cours Club lap time. Now it's obviously a French driving club, but they have a lap time leaderboard as well, and I just want you to see what's up there. Number one, 114.93 is the McLaren Senna. I mean, that's what that car was built for. McLaren makes no qualms about telling you they built it as a track monster. Look next is the C8 Z06 equipped with the Z07 track pack, 115.23. And then look what comes behind it, guys. Porsche 9912 GT2, Porsche 992 GT3, Ferrari 488, McLaren 765, Lamborghini Huracan STO, Huracan Technica, the C7 Z06, the Mercedes AMG GTR. Guys, it's the same driver for Motorsport Magazine for this Nicolas Gourdal. It's different cars. It's the same driver. It's the same course. And just look at what he was able to get out of this Corvette Z06 compared to all these other supercars. I mean, come on, guys. You don't need any more proof. These C8 Z06s are supercars. Now, I'm never going to be able to lay down, the fastest lap time on Virginia International Raceway or Sebring or any of these. But just to know that the car that I'm driving is capable of, on a track, being faster than GT3 Rs, Lamborghinis, Ferraris. I mean, there's a sense of pride in that. And I didn't have to pay $500,000 for a car, $400,000 for a car. I mean, it's a bargain at what we ended up paying, like 125 basically out the door for my car. And I can compete, if I was that good, with any of those cars on the track. I can also daily drive my car if I wanted. It's really not that bad when you're in touring mode and some other things. But just this video today was just really to kind of just say, hey, the Z06 is something special. It is a supercar. There's plenty of data and there's plenty of stuff out there to show that people are putting down legitimately fast lap times on these cars. I love my car. Even if I get a C8 ZR1, I'm not going to get rid of my Z06. There's something about this NA motor that is bespoke to this car that revs higher than the LT1. It just has a more exotic sound. It's not muffled by the turbos a little bit. I mean, yeah, the turbos had a cool sound, like I get it, but this car just has that sound. That's what made the 458 the best car ever for the longest time, was that engine. It won Engine of the Year for how many years? And the Z06 LT6 motor is modeled directly off of that. It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit more powerful. Maybe not horsepower per liter displacement. The 458 still wins on that, but from an overall power output standpoint, it is more powerful at 670 horsepower. So just wanted to go over that with you guys today. I mean, they keep racking up wins with these Z06s. It keeps getting better. It keeps showing itself to be a true supercar on the world stage. And it just excites me. And I like to talk about it. I like to show that, people are always like, oh, this car's faster, that car's faster. And it's all speculation until you get on the track like these folks do, Car and Driver, Road and Track, this club in France, and put down lap times with the same drivers on the same courses and just compare them and see who can put down the best time. I've really enjoyed bringing this to you guys today. I am such a huge fan of my car, and every time I can give it accolades for what it can accomplish just makes me happy. You guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Help us grow this channel. Help us, get more content to you like this. And again, in the future, who knows? You might see a C8 ZR1 parked here instead of this Challenger. I don't know, but we're going to see about getting one, guys. So hang with us there. Thanks for hanging out today, and we'll see you next time.